Welcome. My name is Danielle, and as always, I'm so glad you're here. So, I don't know about you, but I love a good stretch where you hold it a little bit, get deep into those tissues, and just release some of the stress, some of the tension that you're holding in your body. So, with that goal in mind, today we have a yin sequence prepared that's going to progressively go pose by pose a little bit deeper into our hips, into our hamstrings, and really just help release some of that tension that we're holding on to throughout our day. And the best part about this sequence is it doesn't use any props except one of the most widely available props in the world, a wall. So if you would like a pillow, if you would like a bolster to give you some extra cushion, you're welcome to it. But I'm going to keep it simple and show you that you can get an amazing stretch by using nothing but yourself, the wall, and most importantly, your breath. All right, so as always with my yin classes, I like to do 5-minute holds in each pose and transition between the poses with a bell. So I'm going to go ahead and get our timer started, signaling the beginning of our class. And we will go ahead and get into position on the wall. So to start, we're just going to shift our hips up as close as we can to the wall, almost to where our feet, our hips are touching. And then start to lay over on one side and start to bring our hips, our glutes right up against the wall. So we're bringing our upper body down and rolling onto our back, and then slowly starting to walk our feet up in front of us, and then extending our legs as much as we can to get a comfortable position and start to ground in. So this is a place where if you would like some extra cushion, you're welcome to get a blanket, towel, a pillow, and put them under your shoulder blades. But that's always optional, not required. You could also put a blanket, a bolster, a block underneath your hips if you would like to maybe elevate your hip a little bit. That's also a beautiful option. But whatever is calling to you right now, let's go ahead and settle in, get comfortable. You can have your hands by your side, palms up to receive. Maybe one hand on the belly, one hand on the heart. Just feeling your breath and the rise and fall of the chest. Or whatever other position is calling to you with your hands. You could have them up overhead if you want to release the shoulders. But I'm going to go traditional with my hands down by my sides. And here at the beginning, our goal is to call to mind why we're here and keep that front and center throughout every pose. So your job for the next 60 minutes, right, is to be fully present in this moment. So freeing your mind, letting go of any other thoughts, and just focus on your breath. Inhale and exhale. That is all you need to do. Maybe starting to notice as we're settling in, getting more comfy, really feeling your connection with the earth, your hips, your shoulders, your elbows pressing down and feeling supported as you grow heavier and release that stress, that tension. Right? Softening every muscle, starting with our toes. Can we soften our legs, soften our shoulders, our hands, soften our jaw, soften the brow, and just be in this relaxing pose. meditating on the sensation of gravity working a little different on your legs. You feel the weight pulling into the earth, or focusing on that rise and fall of the chest. And there is our signal to start to change. So you can hold on to that stillness as much as you can. We're just going to gently start to transition into our next pose. So maybe bringing your hands to your thighs and supporting behind them. And gently start to bend your knees. We're going to go into a bit of a yogi squat, a malasana squat on the wall. So we're going to start to walk our feet down, making sure that our feet are grounding down, heel to toe in the wall, and then start to wiggle them out, maybe wider than hips width. Just trying to find a position that you can really get comfortable in. We want to get into our hips, but depending on your mobility, your knee mobility, ankle mobility, you might be kind of right here with your heels kind of hips width apart, working towards as deep of a squat in the knee as you can. So this would be valid. Maybe walking the feet out a bit more, but we are going into a squat pose, preparing us for a butterfly pose next. So with that in mind, we will be going to our butterfly here. This is our leg shape that we're going for. So can we keep that leg shape, but keep the feet grounding in? So this is where I'm going to go with my knees just a little past 90, a little under 90, and my heel and toe pressing in. So once you have those feet where you like them, maybe have your hands on your knees to support them. And then the knees can kind of go heavy into your hands. Maybe you have your hands behind your thighs to gently encourage them open a bit more. And then it's okay if your heels kind of angle out a bit. That's also valid. Just find what you need to get comfortable in this little squat variation. So for me, as I'm getting into this, I feel my sacrum, my low spine kind of trying to lead up and kind of peel away from the earth. So really make a conscious effort to tilt that tailbone down, encouraging that full spine on the floor. And then trying to get our shoulders heavy and grounding down. And then just trying to find some comfort. So we probably can't fully surrender into this pose. You got a little bit of tension in my legs to hold it. So can you have that tension, that activation there, but soften in it as much as you can? Because the more we resist the pose, the harder it is to get those benefits. So go to your edge, hold, and soften, breath by breath. We've been in it for a little bit now, so maybe kind of reassessing. Do I need to adjust my hands? Has my pose opened up a bit? Maybe you can walk your legs out a bit wider, get a little bit deeper into it. We're really trying to awaken those hips, get deep into them. So just play a little bit, see what you can find. And maybe you're reflecting for a moment, where has this stretch moved since you've started? You know, as I've held this pose longer, I have felt the tension, the heat kind of tracing down my hamstrings a bit, getting closer to my knee. So just where are you feeling the sensation now? And how has it moved? And then can you breathe into that sensation? Maybe you've closed your eyes and are just meditating on the breath. Maybe you have a soft gaze at the tip of the nose. And that is our cue to move a little bit further. So we're going to gently start to walk our feet back in towards center and slide our knees out, going into this reclining butterfly variation. So again, your hands can be bracing at the knees. They can be pressing on your thighs, pressing them down. If you want to kind of play with your feet, the closer your heels are to your hips, the more you're getting into your inner hips, your groin. The more away your feet are, the more you're kind of getting into the outer hip, the IT band. So kind of just playing for a moment, just figuring out where do you want your feet to be, and then settling in. I've noticed my hips have kind of scooted away from the wall a bit, so make those micro adjustments. Try to get close, grounding into the wall again. And then as you start to settle in, my feet are already sinking further, really using gravity to get deeper into that stretch. As your muscles soften, you'll notice the feet will just start to slide down. And try not to fight it. Try to soften into it. And holding just enough tension to keep those muscles, those joints safe. And breath by breath, can we find a little bit more space in this pose? And then noticing as those muscles release a bit more, how much deeper can I get into this pose? And softening in. Those shoulders are growing heavy. Really feeling your full spine pressing into the earth. And your kind, warm, loving hands are supporting you. Maybe noticing your breath now. Are you holding? Are you resisting? Or is it deep and full breath? And can we soften in a little bit more here towards the end? What's your mind doing now? Is it restless? Is it eager to release? And reminding yourself that this moment is for your body, not your mind. So letting those thoughts go and just being present. Can we soften just a little bit more? And there's our cue to release. So gently trying to come out of it, maybe using your hands to start to support the legs as they go back up. We're going to go back into that waterfall pose just for a moment and set ourselves up for a reclined figure four. So we're going to do the right leg first. We're going to bend it, having that foot coming, or the knee coming in towards us. Then we're going to take that foot, bringing it atop the left knee, so right above that knee right there. And then flexing the right foot, keeping the legs safe. If this is already enough sensation, you can stay here and just work on pressing your knee down, getting into the hip. If you want to start turning it on, feeling a little bit more sensation, we're going to start to bend your left leg, grounding that foot on the wall and gently walking that knee in towards you. So again, we don't want to go so deep into it that we're really holding and like tensing up in the pose. We want to go right to where we start to tense up and then maybe ease out just 5%. And then once you get there, just commit, find that shape and find the space to breathe. So I sometimes like to keep my right hand on my right knee to just gently remind myself to press that knee away, keep those knees square. That's one option. And then at the same time, your right knee is kind of weighing into your right hand, so that kind of grounds it and supports it. You can also take your hands behind your thigh to gently pull that thigh in. That's another option. Or if you want to go for your hands clasping on top of the front of the knee, that is another beautiful option. And if you're doing that, I can find that the knee supporting on the right arm kind of gives you some counter support, counterweight there. And I think, yeah, that's where I'm going to keep my hands today. And having that support, I really find my right leg softening and being supported in my arm. But again, another great option, I think, is having that hand on the knee like this. So either choice. Find that comfort and then just commit. And starting to soften in. We're trying to get deep into our right hip. So maybe noticing, I've noticed that my hips have kind of wiggled and angled a bit since we've gotten into this. So can we push your left hip down so you're still kind of square with the wall? And really trying to keep our form as precise as we can. And then just noticing, where are we feeling the stretch right now? Is it in your right hip? Is it in your left hip? Maybe you're surprised that it's somewhere else. Right now I'm feeling some sensation on top of my left thigh, which kind of just goes to show our bodies are working in tandem, that all of our muscles are coming to get any different pose. You know, if I wiggle my toe right now, it's just not just my toe that moves. You know, there's the ligaments, the tendons all the way up the shin, all the way even in the back of my leg that are working to move that toe. So that whole kinetic chain throughout the body is being affected when we're holding these poses. And that can be a real insight into, you know, where are your blockages? Where are your weaknesses in your chain? And the process of yin is trying to open those up a bit more. So let's just see what we can open up today. We've been holding it for a bit, so reassess. Can I get a little bit more comfortable? Maybe walk your foot a little bit further down, get a little bit deeper in now that we're warming up into it. And then coming back to our breath. right, that is our signal to move. So keeping our legs where they are, we're going to release our hands. And the goal for this next pose, we're going to keep our legs exactly as they are. Just start to topple them over to the left side of our mat. Seeing if you can use that strong core to do it gently. Then we're going to straighten that left leg out as much as we want to, as much as you can. And I'm going to go into a little side twist. So first and foremost, we want to do the twisting focus here. So focusing on our shoulders. We want that right shoulder grounding down. And maybe right arm reaching out if it feels good. So maintaining that grounding. We're going to bring our awareness now to our right knee. So you can walk your foot out as much as you need to and gently take your left hand on the outside of that knee and start to press it in. So we're trying to work the knee down, keeping our hips grounded on the wall and keeping that right shoulder grounding down to get a beautiful stretch on the whole right side of our body. So finding comfort where you can, and I need to shift my left hip a little closer to the wall to get that deeper stretch, and that's okay. Maybe the gaze is up at the ceiling. Maybe the gaze is over to the right. Maybe just seeing what feels okay on the neck, looking on either direction, and then finding some comfort. You can keep your knee on your hand on the outside of the knee, gently pressing it down. If you would rather put your hand on the inside of the knee to support it, it's just different sensations. So whichever is calling to you. If you are having your hand underneath it, you can gently start to walk your elbow out further over time and bring that knee farther in. We're going to hold this pose for a few minutes with the leg bent and then go a little bit deeper, straightening that leg out. So just knowing that this is the start, not the end, and just giving yourself the space to soften into it. And then doing that little body scan, just trying to notice where you're feeling it right now. And just breathing into that tightness. As our bodies are opening up to it, can we go a little bit deeper? Maybe bring that knee a little bit lower. Maybe feeling the right shoulder grow heavier, really grounding down. And softening the jaw, softening the brow. It's kind of surprising to me sometimes how much tension I'm holding in my face. We're almost towards the end of it. Maybe checking in with your mind. What are we feeling? Can we be present? Nothing but yourself and your breath. Right, and that's our cue to take it a little bit deeper. So we're keeping our right hand, our right arm exactly as it is. What we're going to do is try to make connection with your right toe. So maybe hooking on your left hand, hooking onto your right big toe, maybe the full foot. What we're going to do is just start to straighten that right leg. So this can be an intense pose. The straighter the leg becomes, the more tense it can be. So keep your knee bent. Just start to walk that leg out, working towards straight. And this is also a place where if you really just need that extra support, you can put a block right here or a pillow to lift that leg up a little bit more. This can be the hardest pose, but I find that instead of getting a block to lift it higher, just keeping that knee bent can relieve that tension as well, and just working that leg straighter in time. So your gaze can be at your right foot if you want to just kind of help be present in that pose if it's a little tight for you. You can also look away to the other side again to just work your neck a little differently. And we're just gently starting to walk that leg straight, but pausing when you feel that heat, that tension, and then just trying to breathe into that space. And so, whatever is coming up right now, can we find some space to just be in this discomfort? And maybe checking in with your hips too. You can kind of make some micro adjustments in your hip depending on that tightness. But the more we can soften into this pose, right, the deeper the work can go into those joints, into those ligaments. Maybe some deep belly breaths here. And then just trying to notice, where are you feeling this stretch? Yes, I'm feeling it in my right outer thigh, but surprisingly, I'm feeling it like right a little bit in my ribs and a little bit in my toe. So that whole kinetic chain is being worked right now on that right side of the body. And we're trying to breathe into all of it. We've got just about a minute and a half left. And I know this is one of the most intense poses for me. So I might look calm and relaxed right now, but my mind is definitely not. But the practice of yoga is calming those racing thoughts. The thoughts never go away. That's just how our minds work. But our job is to calm them over time. When your mind is distracted, that's when the real work, the most benefit can be found. Breath by breath, just being in this uncomfortable moment. And knowing that release is almost here. Maybe taking a moment to notice, where has the sensation moved since we first got into it? And it's softening in here at the end. All right, Finally, time for that release. So we're gently going to start to bend that right leg in, bringing that foot in towards our chest. And gently starting to walk it back up the wall with the left leg joining it. Maybe take a moment in butterfly, just like wiggle it out. Release a little bit of that tension, the heat. And then preparing yourself to do that whole sequence again on the other side. So bringing our legs up in that waterfall pose. Maybe take a moment just to notice how different your right leg feels compared to your left. I definitely feel a lot more open on my outer right thigh. And so just taking a moment in gratitude of all of that beautiful work that we've done. And then preparing to go onto the other side. So taking that left leg this set, bending the knee, walking the foot down. And again, depending on your sensation, where you're at today, you might just want to stay here, drawing the knee in, or starting to take that foot on top of our right thigh, keeping the left foot flexed. And again, might just stay here, or start to bend that right knee, grounding the right foot down, and going into this reclined figure 4 variation. So same options this side, and you might need to do something different on this side. That's okay. You can keep your hand on your left knee with the knee gently pressing in, giving you that support, keeping that, and the weight pressing in kind of gets your arm to be stable. You could take your hand outside of the knee to pull it in, or take both hands coming behind your right thigh, both hands on top of the right shin, and maybe just taking a moment to play with the choices, finding the one that works with you. And then when you have it, whatever shape you're taking, recommit and soften in and just be in this pose. Maybe taking a moment to notice just how different it feels on this side, if at all. I definitely feel stiffer in my left leg, left hip. It's neither good nor bad, just something to notice. And then as we're getting into this, our bodies are opening up, maybe checking in. Can you walk your foot a little lower? Can you maybe bring that left knee in a little closer? How can you find more sensation if it feels safe? Where are you holding right now? Checking in. And again, I gotta soften my jaw, soften my brow. Release some of that tension. All right, and there's our cue. So we're just keeping our legs as they are, starting to topple them over to our right side, but using that strong core to do it gracefully if possible. And then readjusting your hips to making contact with the wall, straightening our right leg out as much as we can, grounding down in that left shoulder, extending the left hand out, and then deciding what do we want to do with that left leg. So we can pull it in with the hand on outside the knee, pulling it. We can have it bracing underneath so the knee just gently falls in. If we're going with that option, we can wiggle our elbow out further in time to let that knee open up into it. And just seeing what feels good right now. So we're looking again to open that whole left side of the body from our shoulders all the way down to our knees. Technically all the way down to our heels, but we'll get deeper into this pose in a little bit when we straighten the leg out. But just gently starting to work that knee down, using gravity to soften in. And then really refocusing breath by breath. We're grounding that left shoulder in, making that strong contact with the earth. That's really our anchor to then trigger the opening along the whole side of the body. I find that finding that rooting down in my shoulder really helps focus the stretch instead of having both your shoulder and your knee kind of hovering. I just don't feel like it's as precise of a stretch. So really making that contact, starting with your left fingers, your left elbow, your left arm, just gluing it in. And then letting the opening fall into place. Maybe you're turning your head to one side. Maybe you're spending a minute looking one way, a minute looking the other. Or just leaving your head at neutral, looking up towards the ceiling. All beautiful choices. Can we soften in? Can we get a little bit deeper as we open up? Trying not to wiggle too much. Right? Trying to let the body be still. All right, we've got just 1 minute left. You got this. Breathing through it. That's our cue to take it a little further. So taking our hand, walking it down our leg, trying to make contact with our toes. So all we're gonna do, leaving the rest of our body as it is, we're just gonna start to straighten that left leg as much as we can. And on this side, I am tighter. I can't take my leg as straight, and that's okay. So you could get a block, rest your foot on the block if you want to get it straighter, or just bend your knee as much as you need to and work it straight over time. Either option is okay. I like to do this with minimal props just to show you that it can be done. So if you want to use a block, please do. You can just change the angle of the foot. But it might help you to just make some micro adjustments in your hips, trying to bring that right hip down towards the wall, left hip up a bit more, gives you the space to straighten that leg a little bit more. And just notice, after you hold the pose for even a few moments, you'll already start to go a little bit deeper. So you might not have a straight leg at the beginning, but you might have a close to straight leg at the end. And breath by breath, checking in that we're not holding tension, checking in with that left shoulder. Is it grounding down? Checking in with that right leg. Are we holding tension, clenching our right toes? I'm guilty. I caught myself doing it. So if you are, that's okay. Just trying to release tension in every moment. Where are you feeling sensation right now? How has that sensation changed? Has it moved? What are your patterns of holding? And when your body is resisting something, tend to tense up, and do you tense up in the same way every time? That might give you some insight onto how you're holding tension in the poses of life. And so these same tricks that we're doing here on the mat to reset, come back to the breath, are the same tricks that we can do when we're in traffic, when we're in a stressful meeting, when we're dealing with family. It all applies to all aspects of our life. One more minute. We got this. Commit to yourself. I can do this. I can hold any pose for one breath. And then recommit. I can hold this pose for one breath more. And then before you know it, the minute is up and we are moving on. Almost there. release. So maybe taking your left hand, bringing it to your left leg, gently bending that knee, then bringing the knee in towards your chest, going very gently, right? We don't want to hurt ourselves. Then maybe taking a moment, bringing your legs up into a waterfall pose just for a moment more, wiggling out those legs, maybe flopping them out, just getting back into it. And then for our last little pose of the day, we're going to do one of my new favorites, Sphinx pose. So we're going to roll over on our belly and start to bend our knees and just gently start to shift ourselves forward and coming to put our knees up against the wall behind us. So a couple of options in this one. Right, we're doing that Sphinx pose. First and foremost, our feet are pressing into the wall. We can bring our elbows underneath us, lifting up like this. Maybe you need a bolster, maybe you need a pillow underneath your chest, underneath your elbows. You're welcome to do it. Maybe you would rather keep your elbows out wider, your hands in front on top of each other, and just lifting the chest, the heart up. That's another option. If you are really flexible, really open, want to go into full seal or bringing your hands out and lifting up and holding, that's another option. But I find that too intense for me today. So I'm going to sit with my elbows underneath my shoulders, hands pressing into the earth. So your full hand just pressing down and then lifting up, shoulders rolling down and back. And then the gaze is at the tip of your nose or maybe closing your eyes. So we're already at the 3-minute mark. So only 3 minutes left. Whatever pose you're taking, can we soften in? So we're trying to open the front line of our body. It is a bit of a heart opener, but when we have the wall, changing the position of our legs, that changes the position of the stretch. So where are you feeling this? And for me, I'm feeling it around my knees and a little bit in my chest and my stomach, but really I feel this in my knees. And making sure we're not going to the point of pain, right? We're just slightly uncomfortable. Discomfort. Making up some words today, my bad. Softening the jaw. Deep belly breaths. Maybe taking a moment, you can drop the head down, tucking the chin. Just feeling how that feels. Is it better? Is it worse? Maybe bringing the head up, tilting the head over to the side. And then maybe drawing circles, tilting the head to the other side. And just kind of waking up that neck however you like. 1.5 minutes left for you to explore and play. But as we're getting warmed into this, how has this pose changed? I feel my low ribs coming closer to the earth. I'm getting deeper into my back bend. So does that give you a little space to maybe lift up a little higher? And soften in a little better. Got 45 seconds left, and then we're there for our final savasana. You got this. Almost there. 5 more seconds. All right, gonna release. Gently start to bring your elbows back out. Maybe take a moment to rest the head down. Release the back, the spine. And then whatever way you want to, we're gonna get into our final savasana. So you can take it traditional if you just want to lay on your back, extending it out. Since we started this class in Waterfall, I'm going to end it in Waterfall as well. So really trying to make use of the wall as much as I can. But again, if you like to do traditional savasana, maybe your heels are grounded in, knees flapping in. You could put a block underneath your hips for support. That's sometimes a nice relaxing pose as well. Just whatever shape is calling to you. Scooching that booty over to the wall if you're using it. And then just softening in here for a few minutes at the end. Hopefully this waterfall pose, if you're taking it, is a relaxing, restorative one. But whatever pose you're taking, this is our true mindful resting pose. So taking a moment to come back to that breath and letting go of all thoughts except to just be. our cue to start coming out of it. So if savasana is calling to you, stay as long as you would like. Otherwise, start to invite movement back into your fingers and toes. Maybe doing some wrist circles, just waking up the limbs. Then gently starting to roll over to one side, gently lowering the legs down if you were supporting them. And then just resting for a moment, letting your spine come back to neutral. And then gently pressing yourself up into a comfortable seat, keeping the eyes closed if you can for just a few minutes more. And then taking your hands to your knees, or maybe both hands in towards your hearts, rubbing them together, feeling that heat, that warmth, that energy that we have been cultivating. And then coming to stillness for just one more moment. And spending a moment in gratitude for all of the beautiful work that you have done for yourself today. And knowing that all of the work that you do on the mat will pay off wonderfully off of the mat. And for the work that you do for yourself, we all benefit. I truly believe that. So until we meet on our mats again, I bow to you and say, Om Shanti, peace, peace within, peace around, and peace to those who need it most. So if you found this even remotely helpful, please, I would love it if you would like, subscribe, help get this out into the content, the feeds of the people that could use it the most. And otherwise, I'll see you again on our mat soon. Bye.